I know, Katie, that you're still here getting settled, but we are getting some earnings here from Airbnb.
Yeah, and we look at the first headlines out. You can see that Airbnb saw second quarter revenue at about $2 billion. That was shy of estimates. They had been anticipating $2.1 billion, and that didn't quite happen. Oh, rather, they beat actually on revenue. The estimate had been for a hair below $2 billion. They did beat on that. In terms of their first quarter revenue, the estimate was for $1.45 billion. They came in a touch above that at $1.5 billion.
Yeah, I mean, really interesting when you think about sort of the commentary that we're getting here. Better than expected in the last quarter, and looking at that better than expected big forward guidance, you guys, here on the second quarter. I think what's interesting is also a lower loss per share, Carol. So trying to improve the bottom line. You're only getting a loss per share of 3 cents. The year-over-year numbers are about $2. So perhaps maybe some of this reopening gain, of course, helping to boost both the top and the bottom line as well.
Taylor, you hit on it in terms of the second quarter outlook. I mean, here they are talking about $2.03 billion to $2.13 billion for the second quarter. That's easily beating what the street was estimating of $1.97 billion. And this plays to what we've been hearing with so many conversations here when strategists are trying to figure out where to allocate money. They're talking about consumers moving on from buying things to going into experiences, and Airbnb, Tim, plays right into that.
Yeah, also thinking about in terms of pre-pandemic levels, just going through the press release, the financial results, the highlights from Airbnb. The company's saying that first quarter revenue of $1.5 billion grew 70% year over year, exceeded pre-pandemic first quarter 2019 revenue by a whopping 80%. The strong revenue growth, they said, was driven by the combination of growth in nights and experiences booked, continued strength in ADR despite the ongoing pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and macroeconomic headwinds.
And of course, Airbnb shares are popping after hours, up about 5.8% at the moment. It's interesting to read through some of this commentary of Airbnb joining Expedia and Booking and saying that they really expect the summer to be really hot in terms of travel and bookings. Definitely seeing a trend there in some of these travel names.
Well, I mean, the big question, though, is this going to be persistent? Does this last here? I mean, we were talking with Barry Sternlicht a little bit earlier on Bloomberg Television as well as on radio, and he talked about some of these trends. Yes, he's seeing a boom on some of his properties and the investments that he has, but he's also saying that he does expect that to taper off a little bit, that this is that pent-up demand. We all want to be out there, but the question is, what does this world, this travel world, look like, say, a year from now?
And I dare to say it, a year from now, are we talking more and more about some of that recession risk? I know here in New York, as we're focused on a lot of the big strategists, that has been, Carol, one theme that's come up, along with the theme of stagflation, along with the theme of if this is just a really good rally in the midst of a bear market, and really sort of just how you're putting all of this together.